Hey, my name is Ned Hinn, and I'm the campus director for campus outreach here at Wofford College. This spring break, we had the opportunity to take a team of 7 to Athens, Greece, and work with the Syrian refugee resettlement crisis that's hitting the shores there. They've had 1.6 million refugees come into the country since 2014, and so we wanted to go and just be exposed to the needs of the world and invest in the church and what they're doing there. So we wanted to shoot a quick video from the members of our team and share some of the most impactful stories or events that we went through, and hope that this video is an encouragement to you, to what God is already doing in Greece and what He continues to do and how He continues to send people.
So I met this guy in the squads, which are like basically the refugee camps. I met this guy by the name of Wasim, and he was from Baghdad, had been in Greece for about a year and a half at this point, and was just a really funny, positive, like uplifting guy. We started talking, got to know him a little bit, and man, his story was just heartbreaking. He'd been in a few encounters with ISIS, had been shot in the legs, and they'd actually killed his brother, beheaded him, and that was just really difficult to hear from someone like face to face, as opposed to on the news. It's very easy to be desensitized, and yeah, I think that impacted me a lot and made me really upset for a few days. And honestly, I was just feeling the weight of like the brokenness in the world, and just wondering, like, you know, I'm just one person, like how am I supposed to even make a dent or like do anything? What am I supposed to do? I can't do anything. And yeah, that was just sort of a difficult couple days of feeling that that burden. And then I think the Lord really met me in that place and started showing me 2 things in particular. Is still showing me 2 things. The first is just like, yeah, like the world is really, really broken, and there's so much injustice that's going on, but how much more of a privilege does that show that I have to have like a message of hope and of joy and love for people like Wasim, and to be able to kind of show that love in like a tangible way, and to be able to know that like I might not be able to solve the whole problem, but like I serve a God who is able and who is capable of all things.
So our first day going to the squads, which are like abandoned apartments that refugees have moved into collectively. Our first day there, I was really overwhelmed. So I naturally, like, what I do is I look for whoever seems to be away from everyone else. So I'm naturally more attracted to them because one person's a lot easier to talk to than like 20. And so I see this guy, you know, looks to be a teenager, and I go and walk up to him and say hello and introduce myself, and I learned that his name is Ali. He spoke Arabic and Turkish. I speak neither of those, so that was already a fun recipe. And then the conversation kind of drifted towards friendship, and I was like, so who are your friends here? And he was like, I have one friend. And I was like, what? You know, and as the conversation drifts on, I realized that we're kind of hitting this wall that I don't know how to move past. And so I'm just like, hey, can you start teaching me some of Arabic? Because that's the only thing I could think of to keep the conversation going. And so he did. I was bad at it, but watching him light up when I started trying to speak his language was just something really impactful.
There's a little girl, and there's a language barrier, so she couldn't ask for help, but I could tell that she needed help opening her juice box and her snack. And so I took the time and I helped her open it and helped her eat it and drink her juice. And although she couldn't say anything to me, she took my hand instead and just walked around with me throughout the squad everywhere, and just didn't want me to leave her side. And I think through that interaction, I was really able to see how much these people need our love and our support, and how much they appreciate just our being there and spending time with them. So all in all, the church's work and their daily and weekly dedication to visiting the squads and building relationships with these refugees is really making an impact on the lives of these individuals.
When we visited the squads both times, I was immediately drawn to the children there. It was just so easy to bond with them and play games with them. They were so curious and so happy to see other people there, just to play and interact with. What stood out the most about that, or my favorite part at least, was when all of the children were trying to get your attention. The thing that they would say was they would call out to you and say, my friend, and that really had a warming effect on my heart, and I could do nothing but pay attention to whatever it was that they wanted to show me. And it just showed me how much of a light and a presence that these people in this church and that we were able to bring with us into the squad.
Most impactful theme I took away from the Greece trip was gratitude. It was when I was talking to a refugee named Omar, and we ended up talking about family and how he doesn't like in Greece, mainly because he's separated from his siblings, and it made me think about how great I have it in terms of I only live an hour and a half away from my family, and like Omar, he doesn't have that anymore because of this Syrian war and the predicament he's in, and also that his family is dispersed, and so just really made me think and reflect a lot about my life in terms of the family aspect, and it also serves as an opportunity for me to just go to God in prayer and ask that He would just give him and other refugees the hope that there is something greater outside of just being a refugee, and hopefully allowing them to see that to fruition in their life.
One thing I really gathered was how much they value family and little children especially. Immediately I get there and this little girl, I set Emery down, my son, and this little girl walks up and just picks him up and kisses him on the cheek. And I just felt an overwhelming sense of peace in that moment of, wow, I feel so valued and loved, and they have no idea who I am. And so one thing that continued to show was just, especially with the young men, all the way from little boys to teenagers and men even my age, just loving us and welcoming us as a family, and realizing that family across the board really is the same, and that they have an extremely high value of family. And the term that we use often is it takes a village, and I think they live that out very well and very clearly.
When I reflect on our week in Greece, the part of the trip that made me feel like I had the most privilege to work with the church was their at-home project. I think when you look at the scriptures all throughout, you see God's heart for the foreigner and the sojourner. You see His heart for the nations and for people that are different than the Jewish people at the time or us now, that they would be welcomed. And so we got to paint some apartments, to build some furniture for some apartments, and ultimately as we worked, we got to see the families that lived there. Two families upstairs, one family of 2 who got married in a refugee camp, another family of 4 with Mohammed and Narsi and their son Arat, and just get to see them live and have a home. See Arat laugh and play with Emery and with the other students as they painted, and he wanted to help. And so just to be able to see the heart of God for the lost and the outcast, and then to see the church seek to represent that to the city of Athens and to us, and to be able to partner with them as they seek to create homes for these refugees was a privilege to me.
The other thing, just on a more practical level, has been like feeling like, did me going to Greece solve the Syrian refugee crisis? No. But did me going to Greece mean something for Wasim? Yeah, I think so. He had told me that I was the first person to ever listen to his story. And that really, I think the Lord really started reminding me of that and just showing me that like doing more isn't always what he's wanting of us. Sometimes it's just praying, relying on him, and then being there for people. And I think practically speaking, that's a really cool thing that I've been able to take back to Wofford, and just really desire to listen and be there for people, and then pray and know that God is good and that he ultimately is going to reconcile that in his own time. So